What's up, everybody? Welcome. Okay, so the plan for tonight, we're starting with some tactics, and then I believe there's an hourly rapid arena starting in 54 minutes. So the plan is simple, boys. We're doing tactics for the next 50 minutes, good warm-up, and then we're gonna win the hourly rapid arena. Tactics. We've got rook takes b2, which could be a move. Knight takes c4. Knight takes c4. There's queen takes a5. Right? And I don't see the follow-up. If you take, then you lose your rook. Rook takes b2. King takes b2. Then knight takes c4. That doesn't look like it works either. Watch Chikara versus Anish before watching a bit of the Chiefs versus Charger game. Oh, right. It is Thursday night, which means that there is football going on. Do you guys know about Scorigami? NFLscorigami.com. I'm pretty sure it's .com. Basically, a very brief overview. Due to the very unique scoring system of American football, some scores are much more likely to occur. Like a score of 4-0 is very rare because the only way to get that, one team has to get 2 safeties and the other team has to not score at all. Intro Scorigami. The most common NFL scores 20-17. The winning side scores 20 and the losing side scores 17. If you look at all of the NFL games played in history. Sort by first game. The first NFL game with a final score of 31-5 happened in 2021. Cardinals versus the Houston Texans, October 24th, was the first 31-5 score in NFL history. Where's another one from 2021? 45-30. Never happened before 2021. The Colts versus the Jets. You can see, all the upcoming games. You can see Chiefs versus Chargers. There's a 0.91% chance of Scorigami. So that basically means there's a 0.91% chance that they will get a final score that has never happened before. Okay, that's NFL Scorigami, and you can check that out if you like football. Yeah, kind of crazy that those scores had never happened before, and they still are happening. There was 6 or 7 Scorigamis in the 2020 season. It still happens. There's been at least 3 or 4 in the 2021 season just so far. It was agonizing seeing non-chess content. We do quite a bit of non-chess content here. I mean, I like to just talk about whatever's on my mind. Last stream, we were talking about philosophy. I wanted to bring up something about solipsism that I didn't bring up. I didn't remember it until the next day. So now that I have another chance to bring it up, I'm going to tell you guys. So solipsism, in case anyone was not here for the Tuesday stream, is the belief that you are the only conscious being in the entire universe. It's a non-falsifiable theory, right? There's no way to disprove that because everything that exists for you exists inside of your mind. And there's no way you can get around that filter because in order to interpret sensory inputs, every sensory input goes through a filter, and that is the central nervous system. It's your brain. So how do you know that you are not the only conscious being in the entire universe? There's no way to disprove that. And there's another theory. It kind of goes hand in hand with solipsism. It's called the dream argument. And it does not have anything to do with the Minecraft YouTuber. Although that would be pretty funny if it did. The dream argument states that people have, probably you at one point, have experienced dreams where you're dreaming and you don't realize it's a dream until you wake up. I think most people have probably experienced that at least one time. Kind of an additional piece of evidence to this argument is you guys have seen videos of people wearing VR headsets in their living room and then diving into their TVs, right? That's just an additional piece of evidence that I thought of to this dream argument. But I haven't even presented the argument yet, which is if that happens, a lot of times you don't know you're dreaming. I think most of the time you don't know you're dreaming. So how do you know you're not just dreaming right now? You could say, well, when I go to sleep, that I know I'm dreaming then, so I must not be dreaming now. There's consistency, but there's no way to prove it. You can't prove that you're not dreaming right now. There's no way. Because everything goes through your mind, the central nervous system. So that is daily philosophy discussion. Okay. Now that we've talked about American football and solipsism and the dream argument, let's do some chess. Okay. Listen, we can get back above 3,100. We can do it. We can what the frick is this development, dude? What has Black been doing all game? What are you doing? This is like a 200 level game. Not 200%. 200 level rating. The pawn only challenge. What is this guy doing? Chess.com, sometimes they will pull positions from all of the games that anyone has played. Sometimes those games will be from really, really weak players. And sometimes the tactics in those games, happen that are really, really high rated tactics. So then you get positions like this in the tactics trainer with like this position would never happen in a game between two skilled chess players because what is Black doing with their pieces? It just would never happen. But it's like I have to deal with these positions as a 3100 rated tactician. White has just hung their knight. Their knight was hanging. They had an opportunity to save that, but you know, they didn't play knight f1 like a normal person. So, okay, the obvious move is queen takes h2. And now, g takes f3. Okay, I think g takes f3 is a pretty obvious next move here, because I think it forces king takes f3. Like, maybe rook h3. It could actually be rook h3. Yeah, because I don't actually see a super good follow-up after g takes f3, king takes f3. Like, there's d takes e4. That's another check, but so I'm thinking it's rook h3. White will probably play rook h1. Queen takes g3 check. The problem there, king e3, bishop h6 wins the queen. Rook h3, rook h1 takes. There is king f1. On king f1, though, there's actually also bishop a6 check. That move looks pretty good. White doesn't have any good blocks. White doesn't have to play rook h1. They could play something like king e3, but then we could play rook takes g3. I'm playing rook h3 because I don't see a better alternative. I played queen f4, which makes sense because you're defending your g pawn. Bishop h6. There's queen takes g4. There's also queen d6. I do like this move, which is e5, because the bishop protects the pawn, so there's no longer queen takes g4. D takes e5, then on bishop h6, the queen is actually trapped. So I like this move. I'm gonna play e5. White can open up the center and just like totally start curb stomping us if they get two moves. But first of all, they have to have material for that to work. So goodbye, queen. Bishop h6, rook h1, takes, followed by takes. Sorry, you take with a rook so that you don't lose your own rook. Looks okay. Looks okay to me. Good job. 9.8% pass rate. Anything under 15% is pretty difficult.